Today, we're going to dig into something fascinating: how a single product, fertilizer, could be the key to unlocking an entire nation's food supply. We're zeroing in on Nigeria to see how one company's strategy is literally aiming to change the ground beneath farmers' feet. Let's dive right in.
I mean, that's a huge question, right? It's something governments, experts, and farmers have been wrestling with for, well, forever. How do you take all that potential in the land and actually turn it into food, into prosperity for millions of people?
Well, the answer is both surprisingly simple and incredibly profound. It all begins with the fundamentals, right? The health and the nutrition of the soil itself. If you get that right, everything else can grow from there.
Okay, so let's set the scene. Before we can really get into the specifics, we need to understand the landscape. And in Nigeria, that landscape is one of just massive potential and equally massive need.
So you've got this nation with these incredible fertile lands, and they're worked by everyone from tiny smallholder farms to huge commercial operations. They're growing all the staples that feed the country, maize, cassava, rice, plus cash crops like cocoa. And the goal here? It's huge. Achieve food security and stop relying so much on expensive imports.
All right, so now that we have the big picture, let's zoom right in on the tool that's at the very heart of this story. We are talking about NPK fertilizer.
So what in the world is NPK? The easiest way to think about it is like a power-packed multivitamin but for plants. It's a special blend that delivers the three most vital nutrients a plant needs to thrive: nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium.
And this is where it gets cool. Each letter in NPK does a very specific, very important job. The N for nitrogen, that's what gives you that beautiful, leafy, green growth. The P for phosphorus works underground, building strong roots and helping with flowers. And K for potassium, that's the tough guy. It helps the plant build resilience to stresses like drought. A real power trio.
And here is the absolutely crucial part. This is not a one-size-fits-all solution. These different blends you see are specifically formulated for the different types of soil you find across Nigeria. The whole point is to give back exactly what the local land is missing.
Okay, so that's the science lesson. But what does this actually do for the farmer who's out there working the land day in and day out? Let's get to the proof.
Get a load of this number. Farmers who are using this tailored NPK are reporting a 30 to 50% boost in their crop yields. Now let's be really clear. That is not a small bump. That is a completely game-changing, life-altering increase in productivity.
And this chart really puts it into perspective, doesn't it? That bar on the left is your typical harvest. The bar on the right is what's possible. We are literally talking about the difference between a small plot that barely breaks even and a genuinely profitable business.
And it's not just about numbers on a chart. Here's the human side of the story. This quote comes from a maize farmer in Benue. And listen to what he says. It's not just about more crops. It's about healthier crops, the kind that get you better prices at the market. It's the difference between just struggling and actually thriving.
Okay, we've seen the incredible impact on a single farm, but who's making all this happen? Let's zoom back out and take a look at the engine that's powering this whole transformation.
Well, this is the mothership, Indorama's LMA plant in Port Harcourt. This isn't just a big factory, it is the world's largest single-line facility for producing urea, which is the key ingredient for nitrogen fertilizer. So basically, this one plant is the starting point for a chain that reaches millions.
And they are not slowing down. We're talking about a $1.25 billion investment to expand. I mean, when a company puts that kind of money on the table, it signals a massive, long-term commitment to the region.
And what does that kind of investment do? Well, for one, it creates jobs. A lot of them. We're talking over 8,000 new positions. That's a huge and immediate shot in the arm for the local economy.
But here's what's really interesting. It's not just about pumping out more and more product. They've also secured $40 million specifically for green initiatives, things like cutting emissions and recovering water. So they're thinking about the future too.
And this part is absolutely brilliant. They realized it's not enough to just sell someone a bag of fertilizer. They're building an entire support system, educating farmers, setting up demo plots, using radio and even WhatsApp for training, and offering free soil tests. They're not just selling a product, they're creating a whole ecosystem for success.
Okay, let's bring it all home. For our last section, we're going to zoom out as far as we can to see how all these pieces, from a single bag of fertilizer to the future of a whole nation, fit together.
So let's just trace the ripple effect, step by step. First, you've got high-quality fertilizer made right there in Nigeria.
That helps farmers get much bigger, more profitable harvests. As the farms do better, the whole country's food security gets stronger, so they don't have to import as much. And finally, any extra can be exported, which is a big boost for the national economy. You see how that works? It's this amazing positive feedback loop.
So what's the big idea here? What's the main takeaway from all this? It's a powerful example of how a private company's goals and a country's national goals can perfectly align. A smart business strategy can actually become a driving force for a country's development.
And that leaves us with one final massive question to chew on. We've seen all the pieces of the puzzle, the investment, the science, the training, the results on the ground, but can a model like this, scaled up across an entire country, truly be the key that unlocks a nation's harvest? Honestly, that's the billion-dollar question, isn't it?